Hey, my name is Willie Lawson. I'm the CEO, chief bottle washer, janitor, doorman of FightbackMedia.com and Fightback 2020. I wanted to reach out to my Fightback 2020 folks for a second. Um, I published, and you saw on Facebook and on Twitter, a response to the Ahmaud Arbery killing, and you can kind of, you can kind of get that watching the video. I am thrilled that people have been oh, sorry, have have been charged in this case. I I think it's interesting, and my question is, what the hell took so long? Um, Mr. Arbery was murdered in February, and it is May, and charges are finally being filed. From what I understand, the videotape was released by one of the defense attorneys in this weird thing that he thought that would be helpful to their case somehow to get the truth out there, and it's really condemning, really. It seems so. We are. This is opening a larger discussion. The discussion, and we're going to have this on Fightback 2020, is to conservative the conservative community of all stripes. Those of you who know my history, I have run for office a local office as a Republican, not once but twice, and was not able to qualify. And outside of a few people, a few Republicans, never really thought I'd get the support. Never felt like I got the support from the party that I was going to need to win the election that I was trying to win, or even get into the election that I was trying to get into. So that's been a concern of mine forever. And the discussion that I was just on a Zoom call, and a number of black conservatives, albeit everybody there was younger than me, and and most of them weren't black Republicans who have morphed into black conservatism. They're black conservatives that are trying to find a way to use the vehicle of the Republican Party, and they've got their job cut out for them for sure. How can, and this is a straight up question, how can black conservatives interface with the Republican Party as it is and talk about black issues? Because there are black issues. Yes, we'd like to think that there aren't. That would be a great world, and a sort of Pollyannish world. That would be great. The fact of the matter is that there are. And some people will talk about degree. I talk about it all the time. My life as a black man in America at 59 was nothing like my parents' life at when they were young, and their life was little like my grandparents' life. So to pretend that there hasn't been improvement, that there hasn't been progress, is just as just as disingenuous as saying that things are every bit as bad as they were during Jim Crow, because they're not. But in this particular case, and I've already made the video, and I really believe that what we're talking about is a case that's every bit as much about life and liberty and freedom, about what's not afforded to Ahmaud Arbery. I don't. I think that's where we should focus. And it was nice that the president had words of condolences for the family. That was very nice. But it really seems like none of us, none of us, can hold two thoughts in our head at the same time. I find it interesting, and I haven't mentioned out loud, but I mentioned to those around me that we didn't hear much about the shooting in Michigan of the security guard at the Family Dollar store, and I wonder why. But this particular case that happened in February, now that the video's out, yes, if it weren't for the um, if it weren't for the Rona, we'd be hearing about this 24/7 because this is, and Ben Shapiro said this, and I kind of agree. This is a time that media can make America look bad. That we could talk about how failed race relations are, and then point back, and then they could, let's be honest, point back at Donald Trump and say, this is the kind of people that vote for Donald Trump. These are the kind of people that support Donald Trump. Now you know that that's the final play, right? You know that's the play. Now, does that have anything to do with the larger discussion? Probably not, but you know that's a media play. Now, as far as the relationship between black conservatives and the GOP goes, where should the GOP land? Not just at the national level, but at the local level. I would, and there were a bunch of people on the Zoom call. I would have loved to have heard from the chair of my local Republican Party in a positive way, but I haven't heard from them at all. I haven't heard any announcement from them at all. Individual Republicans, individual conservatives, individual white conservatives, white Republicans, the ones that I've interfaced with and seen their posts and talked to them personally, are horror stricken, saddened and horror stricken by the events that happened in Brunswick, Georgia. And they should be, because above everything else, Ahmaud Arbery was a human being. He was an American, and what was done to him was horrific. But why have we not heard? Why have we not heard from the Republican Party on the national level? Why have we not heard from the Republican Party here in Florida on the state level? Why have we not heard from the Republican Party here on the county level condemning what happened to that young man? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's important, because a lot of you don't understand why it's important. I'll tell you why it's important right after this. Hey, welcome back. It's important because moving forward, and in this constant battle, or at least this supposed alleged battle for votes, and especially in the black community, you hear a lot of Republicans encouraging black people to get off the plantation. And you hear either some you even hear black Republicans and black conservatives use the same sort of terminology of the blacks are getting off the Democrat plantation. They are hashtag walking away from the Democrats. But just because they're hashtag walking away or getting off the plantation doesn't mean they're becoming Republicans, doesn't mean they're becoming conservatives at all. Me and my friend Shirley Huzar of Urban Game Changers said this about 4 or 5 years ago. We talked about, yeah, they can walk away, but what are people walking away to? Are they walking away to something? Have we given them enough reason to join us? Have we given them enough reasons to become Republicans? Forget conservatives, because that's a whole other level. We know that's not the same thing. But have we given them enough reason that they would vote Republican? That they would at least espouse or consider even some Republican policy and some Republican anything? What reason have we given people, especially black people in America? What reason are we giving them? Maybe I shouldn't help you, but I'm going to try to help you. Those of you who are saying things like, we should wait for more evidence. This evidence is the evidence that brought the charges. The videotape is the evidence that actually brought the charges. That was the more evidence. Huh. And it doesn't matter what Ahmaud Arbery's past was. It doesn't matter. The citizens arrest laws in Georgia, I do not believe, I am not an attorney, and I do not play one on the radio. I don't think they're going to come into play. I don't think they're going to come into play. And even if they do, if you have a prisoner, if you're a law enforcement officer and you have a prisoner, then you are responsible for at that point, you are responsible for their safety. Which is why it's against the legal, that's why it's against the law to handcuff them and then kick their ass. That's why people get fired over that nonsense. That's why people go to jail over that nonsense. So it's damn sure not okay to detain them and then shoot them. People lose their jobs and people go to jail over that very same behavior. So I really don't see, and again, I'm not an attorney and I don't play one on the radio, and I can't pretend to be one because that's against the law too. But it just looks like, although I don't believe anything's open and shut, it looks like I don't know what people mean when they're saying we need to wait for more evidence. Knowing that it is the videotape that you saw that was the more evidence. I myself took a couple of days to sort of digest it all and come up with what I thought, what I was comfortable with sharing. So I understand that knee jerk, that is not always the best plan. I get it. But at this point, it's time for, again, the black Republicans and the black conservatives, or the people who are out there in that movement that have a lot more followers than me, and will probably always have a lot more followers than I do, to look at this and say, who am I supporting? I don't mean to be negative. I'm not coming after anybody, but I got to say this. I got to say that if Brexit is designed to move people from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party ostensibly, then how are you winning the hearts and minds of black people in those communities who see this and then see your reaction or lack of reaction or the lack of your response, or see what your response is, and then it just doesn't jive with their reality. Again, I'm not going after any individuals because it's hard to reach them from here anywhere. They're way up there. On social media, they're way up there. I learned early that some of these people, as they're zooming to the top, as they're going on Fox News, as they're getting to work for PragerU and Prager, I like a lot of Prager stuff. As they're doing that, they're zipping on by you. Answer an email from someone like me? Nah, never, not once, never, not once. Answer a direct message on Twitter? Never, not once, never, not once. And you can guess who they are. Never, not once. Can we work together on something? Never, not once. So I just may be talking to myself this evening, but I think it's time to understand that if we are trying to move the needle, and that's what it's about. We hear these news reports about we're trying to get black people to leave the Democrat plantation, but in reality, what people are trying to do in communities is to move the needle 5-6 points possibly, and that's a huge thing. If you can move the needle in a community 5-6 points, that's huge. And I don't believe that statistically right now that's a possibility across the nation. But I'm going to tell you, and this sounds terrible to say, to boil down this terrible, awful thing that happened to Ahmaud as some sort of political thing. But this is an opportunity. Let's just be real. It's an opportunity. Because occasionally, everybody has to, or gets an opportunity to tell people what they stand for. They also get an opportunity to show who they stand for. And I think for the Republican Party, and I think for some of the front and center black conservative movement, it's an opportunity for them to show, not only show what you are, what you're for, but who you're for. Not everybody's going to agree with this video, and that's fine. That's fine. Just keep your hate respectful. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now. Hey, just letting you know, check out Fightback Media, fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye now.